Donald Trump has lashed out at Putin, Vladimir Putin, over Russia's recent attacks on Ukraine. Here he was. Have a listen.
I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. To find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently.
So, Natalie, where to now for Donald Trump on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Well, I think the Trump administration has always sort of approached this conflict not through the sort of myopic paradigm through which I think a lot of Beltway elites here in D.C. like to look at it, which is primarily through what's just going on the Russia-Ukraine border. They've always viewed it as sort of an ability for rapprochement, or to sort of decouple Russia from the PRC, a sort of second Sino-Soviet split, if you will. So obviously right now, concurrently, you have Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth overseas in Singapore, really buffering and buttressing the United States' anti-China posture on the world stage and a lot of their meetings over there. So I think that's an interesting development that we should be looking at concurrently with what is going on in Ukraine. You know, I would say it's a bad day for all the Russiagate and Russia hoaxers here in the United States. But the White House is certainly always evolving. I think on the Russia-Ukraine deal, you know, President Trump loves to make good deals, but I think when he feels like he's being played, whether that's because someone shows up to the Oval Office underdressed and is ungrateful, or is not necessarily following through on their promises, I think it affects him on a personal level. I would also point out another bright spot. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has also made potentially some major progress in terms of the Gaza-Israel conflict. So they're firing on all cylinders. But Putin, I would say, may be overstepping his bounds. But hey, for a Russia apologist, I don't typically hear words like that coming out of the president's mouth.
Now, I want to ask you this very quickly, a very important story here. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced visa restrictions on foreign authorities who are complicit in censoring Americans, which there are concerns in Australia. Given our social media laws, we have this e-safety commissioner who happens to be American and ex-Twitter in the bad old days of Twitter. All these sorts of individuals are imposing pretty strict censorship, if you like, on social media here in Australia. Now, what can you tell us? Should they be worried? Should Australians be worried about what this means in terms of Australia's relationship with America?
I mean, only if you're trying to censor Americans, you should be worried. I think this is something I'd call visa warfare. I absolutely love it. It's long overdue. And frankly, the Australians who watch your show and who love your show, people who are saying stuff that I'm sure is getting censored left and right by, you know, these globalist sort of supranational entities that love to censor, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, take your pick of the platform, or whatever issue you may be talking about. This is sending a shot across the bow.
Fantastic. Natalie Winters, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll speak to you again next week. Thank you so much.